Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Breakfast with Bob from CLASH Daytona. My name is Bob Babbitt. We are brought to you by the NASCAR Foundation, Daytona International Speedway, USA Triathlon, Aquasphere, and Varlo, our next guest, coming off an amazing 2:35 marathon for second place at Ironman Arizona, Mr. Matt Hanson. How you doing, bud?
Doing well. It's good to be back. This is like becoming a habit. I think this is our fourth chat this year.
I like that.
Yeah.
It means that you're having a good year.
It's extra world championship race and a few others sprinkled in here and there. So
it's interesting because you can always tell when somebody is, they've been putting in the training and they're going to have that great run, but it just hasn't happened yet. And I saw with Ben Hoffman, he was training with Ryan Bolton, and his run was getting better, but just wasn't. It didn't come through on race day.
Yep.
But you could tell from the workouts that he was there. Could you tell going into Arizona that you were ready for a great run?
Yeah, I mean, I started the year out running really well, and just kind of, I guess, maybe hit a lull in the middle of the season. And at Des Moines, I was running really well.
You won.
Yeah. Doesn't suck when that happens, but
No.
the wheels kind of came off with about 10K to go. And the same thing kind of happened to St. George. I was tinkering with some nutrition things, trying to manage the heat a little bit better.
Right.
And so getting into Arizona, a little bit of a cooler race, could get back to normal, I guess, in that
Yes.
regard, nutrition-wise, and just circumstances meant that I had to have a good run to get what I wanted out of the day.
Right.
And so I had to go out pretty aggressive and just didn't get the chance to take my foot off the gas.
So how many world championship spots were out there?
There were 2 slots. Joe Skipper already had one, so I needed to be on the podium. And Joe, I knew was was going to be up front. So I figured if I was in the top 3, I would be able to get the slot to wherever.
The slot Dakota. I mean, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to. No, it's not Disneyland.
Yeah.
We're going to Knott's Berry Farm now.
I mean, that was I mean, who knows where it's going to be or when?
But it'll be an Ironman World Championship.
It'll be a World Championship, and
right.
We just got to show up ready to race wherever it was. We saw that happen in May.
Yes.
I don't think anybody, at least on the pro side, could say that wasn't a World Championship field or a World Championship finish. So, that's the way it is. It would have been nice to know that it wasn't going to be in Kona before I made the reservations, but that's all right.
Yes. Yeah, that's so. Again, I'm betting that they didn't know that
No,
at that point. Yeah.
It's not a fun situation for anybody involved, I'm sure.
And you had a Canadian Open and PTO US Open, 22nd in both those races. But I know you're not quite happy with 22nd.
No, those weren't the best days by any means.
But that's like a sprint for you. That's a little short.
It's a short, and
it's a chiclet. It's like a hors d'oeuvre.
And the swim is just getting so fast, and as the shorter the race, the more the ITU guys, and we'll see that here this weekend as well. And you have to be on from the get-go, and in both of those races I just struggled for the first 500 meters, and so hopefully that's not the case tomorrow, but just gotta handle whatever situation gets thrown at you. But definitely wasn't at either of those races for finishing outside of the top 20, that's for sure.
Oh, you like it here at Daytona, though?
I do. I've had a few good experiences here.
You had a second here?
I was second here in
70K?
Yeah, it didn't suck. We'll take days like that. 2020 was a pretty amazing experience here, and so it was a pretty easy decision to come back and get back on the start line to end the year. I mean, we're 11 days after Ironman Arizona so far, and
right, you're feeling okay.
Yeah, the bodies came around pretty well. We'll that's what I'm telling myself anyway. We'll see if that's actually true tomorrow, but just go out, have fun, and again, it's I'm in charge of my schedule for next year since I've already got the qualification for the World Championships.
So you can do some stuff you haven't done before.
And so I can be a little bit creative, and that just takes all the pressure off beginning of the season, end of the season. So I can really just go out, have some fun, race hard, and whatever happens.
Have you done Challenge Roth yet?
I haven't.
That would be.
We'll see.
That's a good race for you.
We'll see.
Because
I mean,
you would love because when the spotlight is big, you like that.
Yeah, I mean, this year I kind of made the commitment to be on every big start list that I could. I was, 3 World Championship races, the 2 PTO races,
Yes.
Collins Cup, and then I did both North American Championships for the Ironman as well. And I made the commitment to race the big races this year, and some of them went better than others, but that was definitely something that was important to me. And you want to, to be who you want to be, like you've got to beat the best. And
exactly.
That's showing up at the big races.
Well, and going to Germany against all the Germans, Challenge Roth is not a bad place to go.
It's definitely if you can win that race, it's a feather in a cap.
Yeah, I have a feeling because it's Sebastian's last year racing. I'd be surprised if he's not there.
Yep.
I'd be surprised if Patrick Lange is not there,
Yeah,
and I might even see Mr. Frodeno since there's no Kona.
Yeah, who knows? It'll be a huge field this year. There's a bunch of guys that have already got their qualification spot that are probably thinking the exact same way that I was.
Might be doing that too,
that can just give themselves an option. Patrick got his. Well, he already had it, but Magnus got his already. And, so.
And he's defending champion.
Yeah, exactly.
We forget about Magnus defending champion there.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I mean maybe that's an option.
Yes.
I'm going to take a little break, take some time off, and before I start to think too much about next year. But
very cool. When you with the racing that you've done, and it's always so fun watching you racing. But there was, and I think you minimized when you got hit by a car a couple years ago, and the running was not quite the same. How long was it that you dealt with that before you felt like you were back?
Well, I crashed my bike at St. George last year in May, and then ended up having knee surgery.
You crashed.
Yeah, so had knee surgery after that, and got back here for I think I had maybe 8 total runs before I got back here last year.
Yes, we chatted here
and
about
then,
that.
Yeah,
yes.
And the race went fine. I think I was 4th, and so I was happy with that to end the year.
Yeah.
Got back and was running really well, and then right after Ironman Des Moines, I was just kind of doing my aerobic block for the second half of the season, and got hit.
That's right. Okay.
Hit when I was training here in Florida in June, and that took. I got hit, and then right around that same time I got COVID, and coming off of those two, that I didn't respect how much that was going to take out of me. The run, the car definitely hurt the run, but COVID, I couldn't do anything top end. Some people recover from it really quickly. I felt fine,
yes,
but it just destroyed the top end for 3-4 months, and so that kind of affected things on the summer of races. But you got to deal with it as you can. No one's 100% healthy all the time, and so you just roll with the punches and take the great days when they come, because the tough races like 22nd at the some of the PTO races, they make you appreciate the good ones even more.
Well, and the tendency when you're dealing with COVID, which is an unknown. Nobody knows. Everybody's so different. But the tendency is, as an athlete, I'm going slow. I better train harder.
Yeah.
Right? And you can dig yourself a deep hole.
Yeah.
That's sometimes more difficult than the fact that you're hit by the car.
Yes. Yeah. It was. It wasn't a fun couple months, and it was just really frustrating. It was one of the first times that I was consistently not hitting numbers in training, and I've not done that at any other point in the career, at least when I was healthy. So, it was definitely a frustrating month mentally as much as physically. Right. But we got through it, and racing well at the end of the year. So,
From the interviews we've been doing and just talking to people about PTO and how important PTO has been to their continuing to be a pro, to their, I'm waiting for the schedule because those are the first races I'm putting in.
Yep.
Those are the ones that are $1 million prize purse.
Yep.
They treat us amazingly, and we're going to be there. And you've been involved. You're on the board for PTO. And you're a guy whose career, there's more behind you than in front of you.
That's what I keep being told.
Right. But you're also a guy who understands that you want to leave a legacy, and you want to give back to the pros, because there was a point where it was really difficult to make a living at this sport, and you want to make sure that sort of stuff goes away.
Yeah.
How important has that been to you to just see, pros being able to make a good living? It's a different world than it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I was a little bit skeptical. This movement has tried and not been successful a number of times.
I've seen it a million times. Yes.
What kind of was okay, this is here to stay, was during the 2020 COVID, when everything was shut down. The PTO stepped up and said, we're going to pay out the end of the year bonuses in May, so you guys have a little bit of money to get through to whenever racing returns. And then they threw a championship prize purse onto this race in 2020. And that was like, okay, they're stepping up, they're protecting us as best they can, and they have our interests in mind. And so that was okay, this is here to stay. And then I kind of went in as much as I could. I ran for the board, thankfully got elected. And so yeah, it's been great to be a part of and to see what's happening both on the commercial side of things and on the nonprofit side of things. And they're doing a great job putting on great shows, and that's what we need. We need the best people. I've said this all along, we need to promote the best people racing each other. And with the previous structure, it was hard to do that, because that meant like only one person was going to make money on the day, because if you're not first or second, you're kind of paid to work, and that doesn't really work for most people. So the structure is encouraging competition, which is just going to elevate the sport, because we're going to have the best people going head to head 5, 6, 7 times a year, and that's great. And they're able to make a living doing that, which is important as well.
Well, and that's the deal, because I think, like you said, it used to be, it was almost like a golf course. It was like one pro per course, right?
Yeah, I mean, you'd want to avoid everybody else until the World Championships,
because those prize money only went a few deep, and your sponsors were only going to give you based on podium in terms of bonuses. So people did avoid each other and probably discussed, okay, I'll go to this race, you go to that race, let's avoid each other. Now it makes for great television when you have the very best going head to head on a regular. I tell people, when you look at the PTO US Open and the Canadian Open, those are world championship events.
Yep.
Right? You finish 8th in both those races, you're making more money than you would have made winning a lot of other races. Yep. So it's changed the face of the sport.
It has, and it's put pressure on the other race organizations to step up. To step up, and we saw that in Kona. I thought the broadcast this year was phenomenal. Like they just made it better. So
they made 2 days of racing.
Yeah, and so that's it's just kind of elevating the entire sport, which is what the purpose was.
High tide floats all boats. What a concept! It's like nothing new, right?
Yeah, but the competition is necessary for that. I don't know that PTO is competing with Challenge or with Ironman. Maybe they are in a sense, but it is raising the game for all three of them.
Well, and just from my own personal experience, when I had Competitor Magazine and John Duke had Triathlete Magazine and Dan Emfield had Slow Twitch, yes, we're competing, but at the same time, we're growing a sport.
Yeah.
It's important for us to portray the sport in a positive light so that advertisers want to invest in the sport and into the athletes. That was really, really important. And I think if you look at Challenge and Ironman and Super League and all the stuff that's out there now, it's great television, which we've never really had. Ironman was the hands down best television in terms of their NBC show. But the other coverage was in our sport was not great. And when you're watching television and you're seeing, you're seeing spike ball on television and you're seeing things like that, you go, wait a second, we aren't getting on television, and that stuff is. So it is changing it, and I think it's a big part because of what PTO has done.
Definitely.
Love it. Keep doing what you're doing, my man. Another great race coming up on tomorrow.
You bet.
I love it, Matt. Thank you so much for always being so generous with your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for what you're doing for PTO. I think every pro appreciates it.
Appreciate it.
Matt Hanson has been our guest, everybody. Again, Breakfast with Bob from CLASH Daytona. Hold on. We will be right back.